What are the general first steps?
I work really good under systems, and I don't want to turn this into an Order Man or Iron Council
No, that's fine.
infomercial, so let's not
Yeah.
do that. But I work really good under systems. And the more structure and clarity and focus and direction I have in my life
Mm,
and rituals, consistency, the better off I am. And I think a lot of guys are like that. And because they
mm,
don't have that consistency or that level of clarity in their lives, they flounder. They
mm,
struggle with being pulled on in a million different directions and doing things that are unimportant to them and not finding meaning and purpose, and then finding other people they like and doing all those things, but they don't really find any value in it, but they're
mm,
quote unquote supposed to do it. So they do it.
mm,
It's just a recipe for disaster. So one thing that we tell the guys that join with us, and whether you join with us or not, I don't really care. But one thing that you
right.
need to do is you need to have a vision. Like if you don't have a vision for your life, for where you want to go, then the rest of everything that you could be doing is completely and utterly useless and obsolete. Like, why
Mm,
would you have a strategy without having a vision? So what are you going to do? You're going to go beat your chest and pound your head against the wall every single day, all day on some wall that you're not even interested in pounding your head against? Because
mm,
what? That's what you're supposed to do? Well, no,
mm,
that isn't what you're supposed to do. Maybe you ought to think about that first. And so what we do is we go through a series of exercises that helps people cast and create their vision. Ultimately, what we want them to do is start thinking about the kind of men they could be. A lot of guys, when they start doing this vision type exercises, will think, well, I want this house and I want this car and I want this many zeros at the end of my bank account statement. And that's all good. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. It's just not deep enough. And so we want to go deeper into what is the kind of man that you need to be in order to create that type of success. So we ask prompting questions that help men determine how they're going to show up today. That's another problem. Is guys have this idea of what they want, but they don't have it, and so it becomes frustrating and discouraging. Well, what if instead
right.
of thinking about what you could have but don't yet have, you started thinking about who you could be that will create that? And then guess what? I can wake up in the morning and I could go work out this morning and I could work on my fitness. And now I'm being the type of man that I want to be, who will inevitably produce the results that I desire.
Yeah.
So that's been very powerful, is moving away from the wants and the desires, although that's a good starting point, to who you want to be, how you want to show up, how you want to be viewed. Not that that's really totally important, but it gives you an outside perspective in the way you need to show up. These are all very, very powerful exercises that go well beyond wealth and prosperity and
Yeah.
stuff and possessions.
That's such a good point, man. I come from well, 5 years ago, I left corporate America, but in my prior life at Sitka, and once we sold to Gore, you're working for a really big company. And what happens when you work for really big companies is you're constantly you're in a perpetual state of building plans. You build plan after plan after plan after PowerPoint after strategy I mean, it's just PowerPoint hell. But one of the things that one of the things that it taught me was, man, I'm really good at planning a fucking hunt, but I am not good at setting a plan and a vision for my life. Like, I have no life plan. I'm just like going paycheck to paycheck, maybe we'll buy a camper here, like just like really flying by the seat of our pants. So one of the most life-changing things that ever happened to me was taking what I learned there. And this was only like an hour exercise on one sheet of paper, and sitting down with my wife and like going 3 years, 5 years, 10 years out, and just going, let's write a plan. And it's not like, how much money do we want? Yeah, that's like one little part of the pie, but there's also like relationship wise, spiritually, physically, mentally, like all the different dimensions of life on one sheet of paper. Like, what is our vision for life? Because if we don't know that, what the hell are we walking towards? Like, what the hell are we doing here? And this is like,
Right.
we don't need, this isn't about me, but the point is, that was like the bottom of the pit for my life, but also the beginning of building a totally new life, actually, was some sort of North Star. Now,